What's up, fellow collectors? How's it going? It's that time of the month again where we review some of the toys that my son and I had bought. Now, of course, you remember Grimlock from my previous video. I was dying to review that, so we shall do it today. But I thought I'll take the time to also introduce the two other stuff that I bought over the weekend. Over to you, my son. What did we buy? We bought this Studio Series 86 Blur that kind of fits with the 86 movie, although case can be made that Grimlock can go into the G1 shelf.
Yeah, the Blur is actually my toy.
Yeah, well, okay. And of course this Red Sun Superman, and not
DC
really
Multiverse.
Yeah, DC Multiverse, McFarlane DC Multiverse, not exactly Transformers, but hey, if you find something in the wild, grab him. So let's keep these two aside for the next review videos and whatnot, and today we will do Dinobot Grimlock. And what do we have here? A monstrous robot in his own, and I think roughly he goes for the for how much was it, $53 on Big Bad Toy Store, but I believe it's still on pre-order and is expected to arrive April 2021. I, however, bought it from a local store, and like I said, how can you pass off what do you call that, Grimlock, you know?
Wheelie.
And I believe it comes also with a non-transformable wheelie. Now, this Studio Series is actually a leader class figure, where it is the movie-inspired Grimlock that converts from robot to T-Rex mode in 24 steps, apparently, and that's normally indicated in the here. And also it comes with a non-converting Autobot Wheelie that is used to sit on Grimlock in both modes. And also a backdrop to showcase Grimlock and Autobot Wheelie in the famous scene Mockery of Justice, where Grimlock, Wheelie and the Dinobots storm into the Quintesson Courtroom to save Hot Rod and Kup from Quintesson judgement, apparently. So yes, that famous scene. And of course, for those of you who know Grimlock, he's kind of a bit slow with a speech impediment. He always goes, "Me Grimlock no like this review. Me Grimlock getting out of here." You know, that sort of stuff. So anyway, now Grimlock himself is part of Dinobot, as you might know, but there are different origins to the Dinobot story. But the one that I hold dear to my heart is the one that I saw from an episode from the G1 cartoon, where I think, yes, it was the episode called SOS Dinobot. As I'm reading here, it shows these grumpy bots were built on Earth by Wheeljack and Ratchet. The duo got the idea for the Dinobots after Ironhide found some dinosaur bones near the Autobot base, better known as the Ark. Right off the bat, the Dinobots showed the Autobots that they weren't the kind of bots who just blindly followed orders. Almost as soon as Ratchet turned them on, the Dinobots started destroying the Ark. The only thing that could stop them was Wheeljack's magnetic inducer. And in fact, there was a point early on where Optimus Prime said this doesn't work, shut them off, but they came back and rescued and everything was good. And of course, it became a main feature for the rest of the Transformers series. There was the most popular ones were Grimlock himself being the leader of the Dinobots, or at least I think he was self-appointed. Slag, Sludge, Snarl and Swoop. So there you go. In terms of this figure alone, you get the box that comes with the Studio Series 86 line, and of course this says this Dinobot, this Grimlock is part of the fair that they're going for the Transformers movie. But I don't know, you can put him for the movie, but you can also put him for the D1, you know, season 1, season 2 and whatnot. Great artwork on the sides, a product shot behind that gives you the robot mode and alt mode. Now, if you guys know from my previous video, I'm always like a fan of the robot and not so much the alt mode, simply because I think the robot gives the personality for much of the characters. Grimlock, mind you, on the other hand, is the only thing that I think I will keep him in his alt mode, because when you look at Grimlock in his T-Rex mode, you know, that's kind of, it's instantly recognizable as opposed to his robot mode. So he's, I think, in terms of Grimlock, I'm going to put him in the dinosaur mode itself. So, okay, so let's open all this up and see what we get as a fair, okay?
Yes.
Okay, here's Grimlock out of the box, and just for size comparison, he is a big boy. I say that, but when I actually carry him, there's not much of a heft about him. It seems like a lot of him is very hollow in every sense of the word, and I think that's because much of his bulk comes from him sort of having like the skin that covers and becomes the dinosaur eventually. But just as a comparison, here's a size comparison between where you're likely to put up if you're going for the 86 scene. So here you go, here's Hot Rod alongside the Dinobots, sorry, Grimlock, and you can see the size comparison. He's quite a big boy here. I mean, you can probably fit like an entire Hot Rod inside Grimlock. And of course, with the figure, they also comes with the Mockery of Justice scene. So with that, I thought it was appropriate to bring out the Quintesson and the what's the guard's name? Elicon, right? Elicon, yes. Just to show you how he stacks up, and like I said, he can just bulldoze his way into that scene with relative ease, mind you. So there you go. He's a big boy, so be prepared for that in terms of shelf spacing and whatnot. Along with this Grimlock, he also comes with a Wheelie. Now the Wheelie figure itself is not really transformable in any way apart for some articulation to the head, where I believe it's like on a ball joint or whatever, so you can go left, right, and all around. His arms you can move all the way 360, I believe. Can you stretch it? Yeah, that much. So there you go. The camera, is it focusing? Eventually, let's see now. Focus. There you go. And then his legs, on the other hand, is like a perpetual sitting position, so you can't really move him. You can't make him stand or do whatever, but he's just in a sitting position. And the idea is for him to just sit on top of a Grimlock in either this mode here, Dino mode. So let's get it into focus. There you go. So somewhere, I don't know where does Grimly sit? It's kind of Grimly Wheelie sits on Grimlock. I don't know. Is it like that?
I think at the
presumably
back.
There doesn't seem to be any peg as such.
I think at the back.
Okay, anyway, and along with that you also get the Grimlock blaster. So again, nothing much to shout about. It's like a 2 blaster that goes into Grimlock's hands, and you can see the peg right here that you can just fix it in. So all in all, pretty standard fare in terms of the robot and what you get. But let's go and look at Grimlock himself. By all stretch of imagination, I think he's a well-built robot. I don't particularly see any flaws in him in any way. The color and all kind of works for me. Like I said, that being said, I don't feel like there is a lot of heft about him. I think pretty much most of what's inside him is hollow, so he feels lighter than he should. Although he's a big boy, but he feels lighter than he should. But that's okay. That's where it stacks up for the time being. So what we will do right now is see whether we can transform him into his most recognizable alt mode, which is the T-Rex, and then transform him back into robot and see how he stacks up in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
Right, now that we have Grimlock out of the box, let's see how he is able to transform or articulate. Now, as for Wheelie himself, we have a sort of peg right close to his thigh there that allows him to sit when Grimlock is in his robot mode. You can see the hole right there, and you just have to put that in, and voila, Wheelie can accompany Grimlock in his adventures in that way. Now when you transform him into his dinosaur mode, then Wheelie sits in a different direction where you will utilize the holes here. We'll get into that later. Now let's try to look at some articulation of Grimlock in his robot mode. So we take out the blasters. So as you can see here, quite a big boy, and let's see what we get in his robot mode. If you fold everything in place, you have, starting off with the head that go 360 degrees. Can it go up and down? Of course, that's part of his transformation. He can stretch his arm by that much. He can let's just hold his chest. He can go forward by that much. There is a bend to the elbow that actually works in both ways. So if you want to in his robot mode he can do that, and that's a bit more than a 90 degrees. But if he can push it, and he can also fold that way when he's more in the dinosaur mode.
No
so
articulation like that.
yeah, no, it's different. So for the robot mode, you want obviously his elbow to go that way because that is the right way to do it. But in his dinosaur mode, you want it the other way. In terms of his hands kind of obviously fold into place when you want to go into the dinosaur mode. But regardless, the hand can be rotated by that much. In terms of waist swivel, you have that much, and then you have legs that can be stretched by that much. You can kick by that much, so you can do the full Van Damme, I suppose. And then you have the let's just close this, the knee bend by that much, and feet that doesn't necessarily go upward or downward, but it does give you that much of a what do you call that, rocker movement, not the other way though, so just one way. But that's pretty seamless if you consider there's not as much of a gap, but rather like a seamless transition to his between his leg and his feet, so that's pretty handy. And then of course his flaps kind of go inward and outward by that much. You can also bring it forward by that much to give him like a wing look, although I think in the cartoons it was more flap that folds onto his hands, arms. And then of course his T-Rex arms that can be rotated by that much, and also there's a rotation there. So all in all, I think from a from a robot perspective, he would do what it takes. Now let's transform him into a robot, dinosaur, and see what we get. So the easiest way to do it is to get the head in front. Of course, that is pretty obvious because basically the dinosaur head, T-Rex head, is behind. So what you need to do is just, or maybe we start with the hands first. The easiest would be the hand. You just fold that in to get a straight surface of the feet. Yeah, likewise, just fold that in and voila. So you get that and bring it straight so that you have the dinosaur legs all in place. Bring it forward, then you open the chest area here to reveal, and bring it down to reveal Grimlock in such a position. You then fold his head. Now what I tend to do is just twist his head backward like that, and then fold that in, because that will allow the flaps of this chest plate, for the dinosaur at least, to fold properly. And you want to push it as low as possible, because that will allow some what they call space for the chest plate to fold correctly. So then the dinosaur head, what you do is you bring this forward. You can see a sort of a lump here that goes into a cavity here, and that's what you want to do, and bring it ever so also nicely forward, and you have just about the chest plate forming. There you go. You bring the arms of the T-Rex forward, and I'll form the head. There you go. Wow. So you have pretty much the dinosaur formed. Just have to put the legs a bit more forward like that, so he's in this position. One thing to note for the dinosaur, actually not only his jaws move, you can also bring that head forward by that much, so more like when he's running and striking, or else it's more like a upright position. His head can be sort of played around with this way or that way. So there you go, and sort of a swivel that way. Okay.
Yep.
Now what you want to do is form the tail. The bulk of the piece is the tail. So what you want to do is the calf area here. You just open. There is an inside piece which you would have to take it out and bring it forward like that. Okay. Likewise, open the calf piece. Take out the inside piece. Bring it forward like that. Okay. Then what you want to do is fold the feet so that it's more boxy like this instead of a hollow position. And you want to fold the entire leg onto itself, bringing everything to one side. So there you go. There's one portion there. Let's see. There is the next portion here, and the legs kind of has pegs that you can just connect. Bring it all flush to the point where it is at the back like that. Okay. And what you want to do is fold this piece so that it just forms the thick tail as such. So there you go, and everything has a peg and a hole that you just have to connect that in, and voila, you have. Okay, let's just do this correctly. So there you go. When you bring everything all in place, all flush, push that in, no gaps, this is what you get as a dinosaur, the Grimlock T-Rex. And I must say it all fits pretty well. No, not necessarily any gaps that I can see, apart for this chest plate here. Every now and then you just have to push it together. That's the only piece that kind of doesn't really go nicely, but other than that, everything else, yeah, you're gonna see a little bit of gaps here and there and whatnot, but hey, you know, it is what it is. For the most part, I think it transformed pretty well, and it gives you that classic Grimlock look. I mean, what else can you ask for? And then in terms of the blasters, you can also fit that in ever so nicely so that you don't misplace them. So you can see here just about some tabs there, and you see holes right at the back, so all you just have to do is insert that. So there you go, and that will allow you positioning of the blasters in the correct order, and that's not gonna come out. Okay, and then where does a wheelie sit when Grimlock is in his Grimlocky dinosaur mode? This is where these two peg here that you can see the side of his neck, there's one here and there's one here, and the holes rather than the Grimlock peg. So just now when I showed you in his robot mode, you peg this into the hole on the shoulders of Grimlock in his robot mode, but when he is in his dinosaur mode, what you want to utilize is this small holes here right at the base of the feet, and the idea is just to nudge it because the legs is spread out. It doesn't really like you don't need to slot that in, you just have to push that in ever so nicely so that he sits in that position, and he's not gonna come on, neither is the blaster that is gonna come out. So there you go, all transformed, and the kind of look that I'll probably will display in my collection for the 86 piece. So you can imagine him rummaging through the Mockery of Justice scene. Wow, what is this, me Grimlock? No, like Quintesson. I don't know what he says, but anyway, there you go. So that you have him in his dinosaur transformation to revert him back. But before we get into that, let's see what we get in terms of articulation when he's in the dinosaur mode. As I mentioned before, the head itself, of course, you can open the jaw and whatnot, but the head, you can bring it forward by that much. So when he's sort of like charging, you can have that position when he's running and attacking someone, or you can have him more like when he's in like an upright position. You have that classical T-Rex look. So that's the articulation, and also there is a swivel, and it goes all the way, that allows him to sort of look left and right and whatnot. The dinosaur arms itself has a sort of bend to the elbow and nothing on the hands, and I think you can push it up and down in terms of the shoulder position. It is on a ball joint, and I think that's as much as I want to push it, but it can be done. But for the more natural pose, this is what you want to go for anyway, so I'm okay with that. Nothing much in the way of the tail. It is a very thick piece, it doesn't do much, doesn't swivel left and right and whatnot. The legs itself has more a ratchety feel that you can bring forward by that much, backward by that much. There is a bend to the, like I said, this is the one that I showed you in the elbow previously. For the robot, it goes one way, but if you want it for the dinosaur, you can actually bring it the other way as well if you want, so choose to. And of course the toes that can go up and down, as well as the heels. So there you go. In terms of a dinosaur, is as much as pose that you would like. I don't know what other articulation. I suppose the only sort of articulation that anyone can hope for in the grand scheme of things is maybe to have a sort of a swivel to the tail, but that would mean something will have to come out, so maybe that's not ideal for a toy of this let's say pricing or design. Now let's transform him back. So let's take the blasters off and transform him back to his robot mode. So there you go. What you will have to do, the easiest is to fold the head, fold the mouthpiece, bring it down, This portion here, remember, forms the chest plate. So what you want to do is just fold it and bring down the arms of the robot. I think it was something like that, I presume, initially. And then you bring the legs down, the head of Grimlock up, and then rotate it. Some people rotate it, some people don't. I think I prefer rotating it, because then it allows the chest plate to be more flush in that way. And then you bring the chest plate for the robot in front, and you get a nice click, and there you go. You have Grimlock already formed, and then the arm, sort of the hands, just come out from his where it's closed, and you can actually fold the arms so that it gives you that natural position. Likewise, hands come out from his hiding position. So let's see, where you go, where's the arm? There you go, arm come out, sloppy, and there you go. And now all you have to do is transform the leg. Now, like I said, the leg is actually is something that transforms into one big piece of tail. So what you have to do is just split it, bring it out as much, and this portion here actually forms the calf of your leg. So you want to fold that back in onto itself, likewise like that, and you bring the leg forward. Okay, and then all you have to do is fold that in, and there you go, one large calf piece, and you bring the leg feet in front with the hollow piece, and the feet is that dinosaur. There you go, calf, feet. There you go. So not much of a transformation in terms of complexity. You can pretty much do it 24 steps. Like I said, is generally an indication whether it's complex or whether it's sort of somewhere in the middle, or somewhere it's very simple. So 24 is, I think, right around the more simplistic side, and that's okay for me. So there you go, guys. There you have Grimlock in all his glory, and as I said, he's a big fella, but there's not much heft to him, because pretty much most of what you see, or what you feel rather, is hollow. That being said, that hollow portions, you don't really see it anywhere in terms of, he's all covered up. You don't really see any holes as such. I mean, ignore this, but he's pretty well in terms of his make. I'm okay with it. I don't see particularly any problem, and I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to get it, especially if you're going for that 86 Studio Series movie look, and how he fits into the grand scheme of things. Or if not, Grimlock, come on, you can go and place him in a G1 season 1 season 2 shelf as well, and he kind of fits in. So all in all, whichever way you want to go for, you're a Transformer fan, I think you are likely to get this big boy. So with that, have I covered everything? I think I have. So in that sense, I shall bid you farewell. And as always, guys, if you like what you saw today, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. And I shall be reviewing more when I get the chance to look into all the figures and unbox them. Because believe me, the more I unbox, the more I can actually play around with them and actually display it. Otherwise, I'll have to wait for this video. And, it's a bit of a, shall we say, I'm impatient. Anyway, take care, guys, and stay safe. Adios.
Bye.
Here we go, making Wheelie on, getting icy zone, flexing, I've been swerving, make it trendy, we look sexy. Here we go, making Wheelie on, getting icy zone, flexing, I've been swerving, make it trendy, we look sexy. It's so icy, 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 엄마 내 combination, 새로운 가간지 머리 swag, 남들이 잘 때도 쓸어담지, breaking good, life is good, 한동안 잊었어 이 느낌을, for better life, for better love, 이제는 나도 두 배 벌어, I don't give a fuck, who should give a fuck, 요즘 애들이 병신놀이 하는 거